Dear viewers, welcome again to the analysis of YOLENO TV. I'm glad you're well from wherever you're watching this channel. Earlier on, yesterday, during the incident at NYAYO Stadium, and I made an analysis on how the stadium was empty. But there is something that I kept observing, and a video that I kept observing about a certain prayer, which to me was kind of a mockery prayer. And this prayer, I don't know, I'm not going to say that God was not happy about the prayer and that the prayer maybe was one-sided. But what I noticed about this prayer is that the bishop sought to pray for the president, but did not pray for the opposition leader. You know, one thing that I keep saying is that the biggest group that has failed this nation is a group of bishops and pastors. Bishops and pastors have failed our nation miserably. I would like to go back to the days of election, whereby we saw bishops, trooping to the state house. They were at current residence. They were making a lot of visits. Bishops. Many people say that these visits were for the paycheck. Maybe wanalipwa kwamba walishafanya kazi yao, so wanalipwa. I mean, I don't know that should attribute the numerous visits to the demand for paycheck. Why did that bishop fall soon after praying? I mean, if I look at that video and it's there, the bishop had to fall. I mean, this was something. God has a way of communicating to you. God can communicate to you through prayer when you're in your sleep, maybe through a dream, or maybe through some other signs. And sometimes you seek interpretations from, these pastors. They interpret for you. I looked at NYAYO Stadium event very well yesterday. The attendance was poor. Now that's what we talked about yesterday. Poor. But then why did this bishop or pastor have had to fall soon after making that prayer? Let me share this prayer so that you can get to understand what the bishop said prior to her falling.
Of Jesus. Father, we lift up our CS, Professor Kindiki, at this particular time, and that you will give him supernatural wisdom, Father, to address that issue. We also stand on the directives, Father, that our president released, oh God, to disarm all illegal arms, oh God. He is the president you have given us.
If you look at that prayer very well, then you can tell that this bishop was kind of passing a message to people. I mean, there was a write-up somewhere there, a prayer that was being read, a prayer written on the paper. I don't know whether pastors are supposed to read prayers or just pray out of what comes in their mind. That bishop or pastor has a prayer that was kind of written down. So to me, this was like a kind of rally, a rally that the bishops were used to communicate something to Kenyans. Of course, if you look at the colonial days, the church played a critical role, especially during the colonial regimes. Those days, I think part of the movements of anti-colonialism, especially in Uganda, we saw that the bishops played a critical role in trying to talk the president of the day, that's Amin Dada, into bringing peace to the nation. We expected that the church is supposed to play a critical role in Kenya to make sure that people are all on one page. Desmond Tutu, South Africa, but deceased, played a critical role in bringing harmony amongst nations. In South Africa, he played a critical role. In 2007 post-election violence, Desmond Tutu came to Kenya and tried to bring harmony. Why is it that we've not seen any bishop from Kenya go to any other country to maybe bring harmony? It's because we sense that bishops in Kenya are only for paychecks. They do what they do for paychecks. I mean, That is the sad reality, the damaging reality. Bishops here have failed Kenyans miserably. I say this thing because I believe so. They're failures. The incident that happened at NYAYO Stadium that led to that bishop falling or that pastor falling is one thing that Kenyans should look at, and I think the regime of Kenya Kwanza should think twice. That was an embarrassment, but it was a message sent strongly to them. There was a time earlier last year when during campaigns, when the Kenya Kwanza were trying to sign some kind of charter with the women, and then there was this bishop who was called to maybe again make a prayer, and then this bishop pronounced something that Kenya Kwisha. Do you remember that clip? That was a message. If you look at the happenings now, the happenings really, you find that it is kind of, the Kenyans are crying. Kenyans on a leer. Tax has been heightened. And now the government is not giving a damn about what wananchi are feeling. You just pay tax. You build your economy by paying more money to the government. That is the message that the people are being told. So I personally, side with one pastor, Ezekiel. Pastor Ezekiel, Pastor T, these are some of the pastors who made some sense and they stood with the people. Pastors and bishops are supposed to stand with the people and not with the government. Ladies and gentlemen, kindly share what your observation or what your opinions are below the comment section if you agree with me. Do you think pastors have played a critical role in making sure that our society is growing or our society matures? Kindly share what you think about that below the comment section. Once again, I'd like to urge you to stay safe and stay blessed until we catch up again in our next analysis.